What's the motherfucking deal? I apologize for the extended music in the opener. I have been fooling with some setting. I don't know what I've been doing. Probably should be paying better attention, and it reset a bunch of stuff. But welcome to the Den. If you're not familiar with the Den is the best conversation on the internet, and the reason why I feel like it's the best conversation on the internet is because of all of you wonderful people who join the conversation, the community, each and every night, and just share your input, your thoughts, whether it be by calling in and expressing your thoughts, or by just hitting the text line or being in the chat, whatever it may be. Like I say, all opinions are welcome. For the most part, I guess we're being honest. But let's see what we got joining us, and then let's get into some good conversation. I think tonight will be very interesting. We're talking about body count, and should you discuss your body count with your significant other? I think there's going to be some varying opinions on that one tonight, so it'll be very interesting to see how that one plays out. So I see Cultured, Sweetberry, K Grace, John from New York, Lady Licious, what's the motherfucking deal? Dre in the building, Marie, Jen, Miss Bell, what's the motherfucking deal? That Lady of Soul, 502, what's the motherfucking deal? M Grace, Ronald, Isley, I guess I should put you, I guess that puts you on the early bird list too. Marquise, Trixie, what's the motherfucking deal? Let me see, Chill, what's the motherfucking deal? Strong and Grand, what's the motherfucking deal? Let's see. D Love, no, I can't hear the chat, so I don't know how I would hear them attacking you, but okay. Professor Trill, what's the motherfucking deal? Let's see, 335 in the building, what's the motherfucking deal? Beyond a funny nigga. What's the motherfucking deal? Where is Nikki motherfucking Nicole? Yeah, man, what happened? It looks like y'all had some very interesting conversation going on last night. The fucking power went out. It went out again this fucking morning, so that was not a help. So I had to jump off the Discord early. Fucking mixer cut off in the fucking. I mean, just in the middle of mixer, everything cut off. I thought like maybe like somebody flipped a breaker or something like that, and it's just like okay, if I can go out, everything is out, and then it fucking happened again this morning. It was very unfortunate. It was not good. Um, let's see. All right, so let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. The body count, right? Some women say this is like a sacred thing. You should never ask a woman that. Some men say whatever a woman tells you, multiply by 3. They say men, you divide, women, you multiply. Is body count considered as much of a taboo thing in men? Are body counts in the opposite sex looked at differently? You know? And then what I mean by that is men, we talk about the double standard, men seem to get praised for their ability to, the higher the body count, the more of a man he is, right? And women tend to get the opposite treatment. And John used a good analogy the other day. I believe it was John, basically saying that a key that can open any lock, and I'm definitely paraphrasing, is considered a master key, and a lock that any key can open is basically trash. So I know you say, well, that's objectifying us. It's making us look like, this, that, or the third. But I think that along with, like I guess the special treatment you would say, women are supposed to be honored and revered and, all of these things. And so if that is the case, if you're supposed to be treated special, shouldn't you carry yourself a bit more special? If you are to be required of that special treatment. And I think that's the problem with a lot of women nowadays. We don't really look at it as a negative thing if women sleep around a lot, right? We don't look at it as anything if men sleep around. Like everybody's just I don't know if you're on that hippie shit, but everybody's pretty much fucking, right? I mean that's it. So nobody really cares. Again, like I say, nobody's just judgmental, but I think it's still means something. And so I'm gonna share a story, and I'm gonna kind of paraphrase it. Right? Someone shared this with me, and I want to know what you guys think. And then, like I said, we will open up the line, and we will discuss some, like I say, just your thoughts on body count if it matters. And I think there's like, I'm trying to word it right, because sometimes it's a little bit more than just the number, right? It could be the type of bodies that you may have racked up. Is something also to consider. So, give me one moment. All right. All right. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me make sure I pull this up. So, like I said, I want to tell it as properly as it can be told. Excuse me. That's a terrible, terrible story. All right. Mm. Okay, I'm gonna just read it as is, right? I'm gonna read it as is. So, all right. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if I want to read it as is. All right, fuck it. Says now this is someone and the situation that they're dealing with. And this is loosely based because, like I said, I may change a little bit of it, but loosely based on a true story. So it says, when I first got married, the beginning of our relationship, I wanted to be completely honest. If my husband couldn't accept things that had happened in the past, he assumed the beginning of the relationship would be, the best time for you guys to end it. So I told him about their history, and there were some familiar names in the history. That's just kind of part of a problem being living in a small town. Uh, Also, there was an interracial situation when this was a time that it was kind of taboo to do such a thing. Uh, so he knew about that, and let me see. He said all he would say was the number of people that he had been with. He said he didn't want to talk about the past. Okay. So a while later, uh, a guy that I was familiar with tried to get with me, and I declined. He said he knew some things about my husband. So he went on to tell some things that completely changed the way I feel about my husband. Let's see. Shortly before I got together with my husband, he was with a younger girl. He was 21. She was 16. So some things happened. I'm not going to go into all the details of what happened, but let's just say she had a very traumatic experience after that. I expressed my concern about the girl to the husband. He played it off like it wasn't anything. It pissed me off because she was young and morally wrong. For years, all I heard was, "You've been with a black," when there was nothing wrong with that. At least he wasn't a child. So occasionally I have moments where I don't know if I can trust him, and I don't know him. But then there's still a part of me that feels like he deserves forgiveness. So I haven't looked at the chat at all because, again, y'all are terrible people, and I don't, always want to make sure to get through the story. And I did a very bad job of paraphrasing it, but I wanted to share the story. Like I said, I was trying to make sure I didn't give away anything. Give away anything too much. What am I looking for here? Oh, there we go. All right. So, all right. So I want to know what y'all are talking about. I want to know what y'all are thinking, right? No, man, it's because I'm trying to read the story, and like I said, I don't want to give away any clues with the story, and I'm just making sure that I preserve the anonymity of those who want to be anonymous. So, I want to know what y'all think, man. And I want to know if y'all feel like, and that's a tough one to me, right? If something that you found out that your significant other, it wasn't maybe a high number, or it wasn't a thing like that, but maybe they did something in their past that would make you, question it. I had posted in the Den a story about a chick, and I don't know how many people saw it, but basically she and her sister's boyfriend and a guy who was her fiance, they were FaceTiming each other, right? And they were FaceTiming to just kind of spend some time during the quarantine. And so after they, I guess, I don't know how FaceTime, I don't know how you Apple user, I don't do the Apple thing. But I guess after they got off, I guess it was her and her sister, and then the sister's boyfriend and her fiance got to talking. Well, the sister's boyfriend got to saying a whole bunch of stuff, talking about her past and how she got ran through in college. She was a jump off. And she was actually still friends with a lot of these guys who she participated in these activities with in college. And so, the husband kind of confronted her about it, asked her some questions, and then I guess for several days he stopped talking to her. I don't think they ever followed up on the story, but it's like, is an action that you did in the past, even though it was before you, does that make you change the way you feel about somebody? So like I said, it doesn't have to just be the number, but I mean, there's a whole history of interaction that you have to talk about. It could be one act. They could have only had one person, but it could have been a real terrible thing. Like, does that change the perspective of how you look at somebody? So let's get into that. Give me just a moment. And get the phone line booted up here. Let's get into some good conversation. So again, I hope everybody is doing their best to not spread the Rona. They're talking about the curve flattening. I don't want to get into that because they're going to take it to a whole different topic. I'm trying to stay on topic tonight, but I got a lot of questions, and I know I said I didn't want to talk about it anymore, but I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it in the Discord. I just have some questions. There's some things that are going on that are bothering me. Get that moved up. Put the number on the screen. All right, we're good here. And all right, we're good. Okay, cool. Now I actually put the Denline up on time. All right. And then yesterday was pretty interesting. Some of the dens, I do want to bring back some more of the man versus woman stuff too. I think something I did what I think I just fucking did. Okay, here we go. All right, what's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
I really got in before everybody else? That's a shocker.
Hello, D-Love.
What's good, Honcho? What's up?
I'm just cool, D-Love. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing fine. I'm feeling a little sick to my stomach, but man, I'm doing fine.
Look, just don't cough on your phone and we'll be all right.
See, Honcho, that's the problem with you. You always jinxing stuff. Every time you say something that happens.
So you trying to say I'm bad luck or something? Is that what you're saying?
it's not exactly what I'm saying, but we talking about body count.
Yeah, talking about body counts. And I, wait, go ahead, D-Love. I'm not even going to say anything. Go ahead. What would you like to say? Carry on.
I will say that for the Discord. Okay, so I got a question about body count. Like I want to know like what people consider when they say body count. So would you consider someone who slept with multiple partners, uh, or someone who slept with the same guy multiple times? Is it the same thing or is it different?
I mean, it's different for different people. I mean, because everybody's had a different journey. So depending on when you come across that person in your, lifetime, it may be different. If it's at a younger age and they've racked up a whole lot of experiences, you may say, hey, well,
Right.
that's kind of weird. What's going on? Or it could be an older person and they haven't done very much. I mean, it's going to be different for different people. Like I say, some people are going to have those long-term relationships. Some people are going to have maybe after a marriage they decide to wild out a little bit, so they may have a combination of both. Um, so I wouldn't say if it's one person a bunch of times or a bunch of people a single time. It could be a bunch of people a bunch of times. Like a body count for each person is different. I don't think there's no kind of set label for it or set structure for it.
All right. Well, here's the thing. I don't I don't think we should hold somebody's past against them, anything like that. Because I mean, people at least people claim they changed. But as far as me, I mean, I would like to meet somebody who like just as pure. So we do get like we do have that special night, and then we be able to give each other to give ourselves to each other. Is what I'm saying. But I mean, there was a live stream. I followed this person on this female on Facebook, and she had a discussion about this. Now she's like an exception to the norm. When you talk about how women are, you know, women are shamed for going out and wilding out. Because society look at women and say they're supposed to be pure and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But she's an exception. She's an advocate for sexual liberation and stuff like that. And so she have a son. She's married with a child, right? And she also mentioned how society tells like boys from a young age, from like a very young age, that they should go out and wild out. Because notice how when young parents look at their little boys and be like, "Gonna go up and get all the girls." You know what I mean?
So here's my thing. Somebody looks appalled at the fact that you said that you're wanting a pure woman. Um, would you care to share with the people why that is? Why you're seeking such a thing?
What you mean?
Somebody is surprised that you said that you wanted a pure woman. So could you inform the people in the chat who may not understand why you're seeking such a thing? Why this is important to you?
Okay. Well, I'm waiting until I'm married. Um, right. I follow most of the biblical guidelines and stuff like that, but it wasn't until I, done research on the benefits of waiting until marriage that I actually decided to do it. Because before that, I made like a subconscious decision to do it. I wasn't really thinking much of it. But then I did research on most of the benefits on how you could actually get to know each other, and you take that time to really get to know each other and to see if y'all are really meant for each other before actually getting intimate. But it's just the way that I decided I wanted to consummate the marriage and stuff like that. So, like I said, it's not a holier than thou thing. I mean, I'm not judging people that are not doing it.
Yeah, you're
This
very
is just
judgmental.
the
You're
decision I
extremely judgmental.
made
You're
for
probably one of the
myself.
most judgmental people that I know.
That's a little conscious. Look, y'all pick on me in the Discord. I got to get Mother Grace to come and extinguish y'all. So, yeah, that'd be all right.
Extinguish? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So, you know, so let's talk about that. So, like I say, so you say, your person's waiting for marriage, and we've kind of had our discussions between you, I, and some of the other gentlemen in the den, and the question is, that I know this is an important thing to you, but what if you kind of have a difficulty finding that? So, what if you do come across a young lady and maybe she's had her fair share. I'm actually flip the question on you that you asked me earlier. So what if
What did I ask you?
what if she is a young lady that is very nice, kind, and pure, and she was had just one person but a bunch of encounters? How would you view that differently than a bunch of singular encounters? Uh, multiple singular encounters as opposed to a bunch of times with just one person. So how would you view her differently? Would that make you change the way that you feel?
I plead the fifth.
No, it doesn't work like that.
It don't work like that, so I got to answer the question.
Yes, you must answer the question, sir.
Okay, all right. Dang, Honcho. I mean, like I said, I couldn't hold that pass against her. But I mean, I don't know. By the way, I don't know, Honcho. That's a difficult question. Like, this is not something that I resonate on
Okay.
all the time. Like, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm just asking, So my so my thing is, even though the people want to know D Love, I mean, you just gonna leave the den folk hanging? I mean, they would love to have an answer because there's very few people who are in a position that you're in to be able to answer this question.
Well, that's the reason I asked you the question, Hunter. I wanted to know your input on it because I don't really have an answer for this. Like, I don't have an answer for that.
How can I answer that? I mean, I can't necessarily judge anybody. I don't really care. Honestly, excuse me. Good grief. Pardon me, y'all. Excuse me. But I don't really care, as long as that if the involvement or interaction that I'm having with you are not tarnishing me for a lifetime, then we all good. But like I said, this is an important thing, depending on who you ask and depending on the interactions that people have with people. So, I mean, so I say to me, I'm not the best person to ask that question because to me, I'm going to view it differently than most people. That's what I'm saying. You, being a young adult, who has successfully got through the teenage years, which can be some of the most difficult to navigate. And, you're at a point where you have options and choices. You've successfully done a stint in the military. And now, like I say, you're looking to move on to the next phase in life. So, I mean, you're in a position that not a lot of people ever have reached. And, once you pass it, you can't go back. So you still have an option most of us don't have. So that's why I'm asking you. So if you come across a person, but they're not as pure as you, do they still have an opportunity? Or is that going to be, are you going to kind of discount them in your opinion?
To be honest with you, Hunter, like, I'm always going to, like, keep an eye out for someone who is pure. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to lie to you. But I normally don't judge people based on their body count.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I could give you. I don't know.
Okay. And somebody asks, how old are you, D Love?
How old am I? I'm 23.
Come back like Mike Jordan wearing the 4.5.
You feel what?
Nothing at all. Okay. Is there anything? Is there anything else that you would like to add to the conversation this evening, Mr. D Love?
Nope. But the reason I was mentioning the woman that was doing the last stream, talking about how she was going to treat her child, that he shouldn't grow up and get, put that stigma in his head that he shouldn't grow up and get all the women. It's just because I just said that to say how we don't always have to follow the status quo and stuff like that. Because, I mean, I'll tell you, in the military, like, I've seen the worst of the worst, all right? But we'll say that for another time. It's just every time I told people about how I decided to go on my journey, I mean, they look at me like I'm speaking a foreign language. So, I mean, like I say, society doesn't always support my decision to leave and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But like I say, I travel a narrow path, so that's all I want to say. But I appreciate you for taking the call.
All right. Well, I appreciate you calling in, D-Lo.
Yeah.
What's the motherfucking deal, man? Who we got calling in to the den this evening? Oh.
Honcho, what's up, G? It's Dan.
Dan, the motherfucking man with the plan. What's going on, Dan? How you feeling this evening, sir?
I'm chilling, bro. I'm chilling. Who was that? D-Love just called?
Yes, that was Dr. D-Love himself.
I heard him mention something about the military and body counts and whatnot. Yeah, I can attest to whatever he said negative about the military, 102%. I got to go into something. Talking about body counts. So mine's, what, 13, 14? And I'm going to say my shit out here. I'm not lying about none of that shit. I have no one to impress. I don't care. But, like, I go through droughts, right? And this is going to sound weird, but I'm just going to just say it out loud. So when I was on the carrier the first 5 years in the military, this is right when I tried to start that relationship I told you about, where she cheated on me on Christmas Day. No, she dumped me on Christmas Day. She cheated on me on deployment. And this is going to be, y'all going to laugh about this. I went that entire 5 years without sex or relationship, anything. Yeah, 5 years. I was so hurt, you know?
You're a better man than me.
Oh, well, shit. That ain't saying much because, like, I mean, I'm not, no insult to you, Honcho, but, like, everyone that I worked with, like, because, you know, they saw how hurt I was when that happened and that I never bothered. They thought something was wrong with me. I told you, some of the females thought I was gay. A lot of dudes said I was gay. Must have a small penis. What's wrong with you? All types of flagrantly disrespectful shit.
Yes.
And people wonder why I don't have love for the military. I've had some of my bosses tell me some shit like that. These are the same dudes who will go to a port, sleep with some random hooker, raw, and then kiss their wives. Or they sleep with some of their junior sailors and shit. D-Love know what the fuck I'm talking about. He do. Some dirty ass motherfuckers.
It's terrible.
But we both out, so fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit. Anyway, about body counts. You know, like I was saying, like when it comes to body counts, my first initial thought was you should be upfront with your partner. But that's only if they are really asking about it. And if you're willing to tell them. Because this is what happened to me in college. And I was talking to you and Broderick and Trill about that girl I fell in love with who was the jump off, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and how that ended. But what happened was not long after her, I got a relationship with another girl. And besides just being drunk and high all the time, it was fine. But what ended up happening was I found out her body count. And I was mad about it. So I dumped her. Yeah, I regret doing that.
So I mean, so at that time, and you know, maybe you have a different perspective now, but at that time, the body count, discovering that, did it change your opinion of that young lady?
At the moment, it did. But she never cheated on me, unlike the last girl. But I was so angry and hurt from the last experience, I didn't want to get hurt again. So I ditched her.
Okay, that's actually kind of interesting, because do you think people or other people may take a high body count as a sign of being unfaithful, or you know, maybe they just look at it as being too promiscuous, or what do you think the real impact is, or is it an ego thing? I mean, what do you think? Why would you look at it differently? How about we say that? Would you look at it differently now if it was a similar situation?
Yeah, I would, because, look, as long as you got protection and you got no kids running around that I'm not willing to take care of, I'm cool with it, you know. But back then, I had my pride at the time. I had a bit of ego because I just joined a fraternity, all of those stupid shit. So I wanted, you know, show, like, yo, I ain't saying these bitches, none of that crazy, none of that shit, you know. But it was immature. So, you know, I don't know. Just tell you, man, just like if you're, for young people, man, I don't know what to tell you, man. And D-Lo, good luck trying to find anyone pure, because I've met a lot of virgins who are dickheads. So, I don't know. But I think as you get older, it's more about companionship at the end of the day.
Okay, I agree. I think ultimately, yeah, you learn to look past the frivolous stuff. and kind of learn how to appreciate a person for who they are. You know.
Yeah, that's very true. And I don't know her body count. I heard she had trains ran on her too, just before I was dating her. So I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I have serious trust issues with everybody, honestly.
No, man, I don't blame you. I understand. Definitely get it.
But yeah, man, I didn't mean to make this depressing and shit. You know, hey, have a beer and smile and shut the fuck up. You know, all that shit. You know. I don't know, man. I'm just be chilling tonight, bro. It is what it is. I just want to share that story about like how you think you might be doing something right because of certain conceptions, but you might regret later. I don't know. I did, but me and her, we talked about what happened, and we're friends still to this day. I'm just glad she's doing all right, and I still have love for her. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's good. Like I say, it's always good, you know, when you can realize maybe just things at a particular age or a particular point in your life, you know, it just wouldn't have worked out, but you can always still remain friends. I think that's it's important to try to maintain as many of those type of affairs or relationships as you can. So.
Yeah, you might need some to co-sign a loan or some shit. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. Try to get this new car. Oh, and I see football 503 mentioned something about virginity until marriage. If you can do it, good job. By all means.
Yeah, man.
So, you know, good luck to that. Me, I said fuck that shit, but, you know, it is what it is.
I'm a firm believer in the test drive theory, but hey, you know, you kind of want to know what you're getting into if it's going to be there for a while. So, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough, man. But yeah, Hunter, that's all I got, bro. I ain't trying to take up y'all time, you know what I'm saying? I hope you have a good night, though, man. You too, Dan. Yeah.
All right, Dan, man. Well, I appreciate you calling in, man, and sharing those stories with us, man.
All right, thanks, sir.
All right. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
It's Belle. I seem to get caught behind D-Love and Dan all the time, don't I? It's all good. This is a pretty good topic, actually. I think that there's a double standard with this. Because the fact is I think that men expect women's numbers to be low because, like you said, you know, if they say 2, you multiply it by 3, you know, and then that's what the man actually thinks. And, you know, or vice versa, you know, if a man says 10, it's probably 20 with a guy. This is what was discussed before, correct?
I thought you divide the men and you multiply the women.
Oh, okay. Anyway, the point is that what does it really matter if you and that partner are together? And I will say this for all clarity and confession or what's the word I like? Clarification. I never told my husband my body count. But nor did I ask him. Because my point was, is if I'm going to be with this person and it's a partnership, I don't need to go in the back. He had already been married twice. And he knew I was engaged twice before I got with him. So the band on the gift wrapping has been broken, but that doesn't mean that it's completely used out. You get my drift?
Yes.
And if we experiment to figure out whether or not it works before the marriage, then what the hell does anything else matter?
So you don't think environment plays a role into it? Because here's something, like, to me, I think okay, like I can sit here and say that I don't think it matters. Like I really don't care. All right, cool. Like, as long as everything else is on the up and up, and I enjoy myself, if we're all adults here and we're enjoying each other's company, then I'm not really tripping on that other shit. But what about, say, small town versus big city? You know, small town, everybody kind of knows everybody, and if you've been around town a couple of times, does that change the perspective? Or if you're with somebody from that same town, like, don't you think that kind of has an impact maybe on relationships, as opposed to maybe if you're from a big city and you don't know any of the people, that it doesn't matter? So I guess maybe being aware of other partners, I think that what that impact has on it.
Absolutely, but there's an old saying, too, you don't shit where you eat. And I grew up in a town of 7,000 people. So pretty much it was constantly living with the church. Do you remember what do they call it? They used to call it telephone. when one person would tell another person, and by the time I get back, it was a totally different story. Well, that's the kind of town I grew up in. And so what I did, whatever I did, it was in Vegas because I knew it would never come back to haunt me where I was. But it's like anything else. If you're going to, shit on Main Street, everybody's going to have a comment about it. If you keep your mouth shut and do your business somewhere else, it's nobody else's business. Now, for the younger folks, the only thing that I've ever cared about is that person that was with me had a clean bill of health. Because at the time that I was growing up and dating, HIV and AIDS was just coming out. I mean, you want to talk about putting the fear and the panic in people. So making sure that, like, having a clean bill of health was just as important as anything else.
Yeah, it definitely still is.
Yep.
It is the most important. Yes, it definitely.
I mean, even 30 years later, it's still important. But what I'm saying is that I don't look at it. I look at it slightly different. Being a widow at this age, and after being with my husband for 22 years, and 10 of those not being active that way, I don't feel like I owe any man what my body count was, because that was 22, 23, 24 years ago. So it also depends on the ages, and if you're talking about the younger ones, just remember, whoever you've been with, you always take that with you, male or female. You may not have to tell somebody else, but you still have to deal with it with who you are as a person. And that never goes away, because it's always an experience, whether it was a pleasurable one or not.
Yeah, that is true. Okay.
I think that it's terrific. Now, is D-Love, did he say he was still, like, a virgin?
Yes, D-Love is a rookie. No, D-Love actually hasn't even been drafted yet, so he's a virgin, waiting for his Cinderella or whatever princess.
And you know what? I think that that's cool. I think that he's probably one of the few people that I would never make any judgment or call about wanting another virgin, because he'd want somebody just like him with no experience. Now, the one thing that you hear all the time is a lot of men, I should say quite a few men probably want them, because they've never had any experience prior to that. So if you're the first person they're with, then you're going to be the whole big package to them. And I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't even thought about that part of my life at this point yet. So
I have a question though. Okay, so
sure.
In your opinion, and this is not to ruin it for D-Love, but just to give a realistic perspective. He's a 23-year-old man. We're living in America right now. What do you think the likelihood, if it was percentage-wise, what percentage chance do you think that he has to find a pure woman to match his commendable standards? Fucking bumping this thing.
I'd say probably 20%. And it's only because people are so sexually stimulated in this society today. And that doesn't mean that they're not out there. It just means that, and knowing D-Love, he wants the whole package. He doesn't just want this person as a conquest. He'd probably want this person as a long-term partner. And that actually is harder, because there's more decisions that need to be made, whether he's attracted to her, whether he thinks that they can go the long run. But the biggest part is that if you find that part of it, make sure the rest of it's together. I'm really proud of him for that. I'd be proud of a female for doing that too. There's not too many people that do that today. I was going to say something else. The fact that, I don't know, I kind of lost my thought when we were talking. But it just seems like we're such an overly sexually charged society today, because there's so much media on that particular thing.
Um, I don't know, man. Like I
I'm
said,
exhausted.
yeah, I get that. So has there? You said that you didn't share it with your husband, and it's never really been an issue with any of the guys that you may have encountered prior to settling down with your husband.
I just told them it was none of their goddamn business.
Okay.
You know, the point is if I'm not asking you, you don't get to ask me. And I don't need to know, because if we're going to be in this relationship, then we're taking it the long term. Anybody in the past is the past. As long as you have a clean health record, which, like I said, I was engaged twice. You know, I left one at the altar in California for the fact that we were more friends than we were ever in love, and it just wasn't going to go the long term. And the other one, it was just right guy, wrong time. So I don't want somebody to use my numbers against me, and I don't want to change my view about knowing somebody else's numbers, because you're taking somebody's past and completely putting it up into what a current relationship is. That's allowing all kinds of judgment calls to come into the relationship when that person might not be the same one as they once were. And as you very well know, when you're dating one person, you're not always quite the same person when you're dating another one.
Yes. Someone asked, "Would you share your body count?"
No,
There, so y'all can't
because
say I didn't ask.
no. And I will tell you why. My body count goes before the fact that I was married. That was almost 25 years ago. That's ancient history. And I don't need other people judging what I did by a choice I made. And that's the thing. The more you talk, the more we let people make a judgment call about what we've done. I don't judge anybody else about what they've done. I'm not letting that one out. There's very few places that I get hardball on, but that's one of them. And I don't expect the next person to come into my life to give me an itemized number of how many women that they've been with. As long as they are single, as long as they are medically cleared, I'm good with that.
Okay. Okay. Well, that sounds like a good game plan. So no judging on the number. You're not even concerned with it. That's your stance.
No, because the thing is that sometimes when relationships do go bad, it gives the other person ammunition to be very vindictive and petty.
Okay.
And I never want to give somebody else any ammunition against me.
Word.
And that's how you stay strong, is by not letting it all out.
Okay. So I can't knock that if you feel like that's just something that should be reserved to self, and that's something that should not apply to how you feel about someone. I cannot disagree. So.
Yeah. I see a couple of people saying medically cleared. Back in my day, okay, I'm going back to rock ages these days with the younger folks. When HIV was really prevalent and out on the scene, people would go and get HIV tests and get all the STD tests in order to prove to their partner that they were clean and above board. And especially if you had all those men that knew you were multiple partners. And this is where the small town bullshit came in. And this is where men were card carrying and saying, hey, but it could have been a week later, and anyway. But that's what was going on in my generation, in my decade. So, all right. I'm good for tonight. Do you have any other questions?
No, ma'am. I have no further questions.
All right. And love to hear from everybody else.
Okay. All right. Well, Ms. Bell, y'all know how it goes. The bell has rung. Class is in session. And I appreciate you calling in and sharing your thoughts with us tonight.
All right. Good night, Honcho.
Yeah, good night. Okay. So, no real issue. Keep it to yourself. Shouldn't matter. Shouldn't impact the way you feel about the other folks. Okay. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
Good evening. This is Promiscuous John from New York.
Hello, Promiscuous John. How are you this evening, sir?
Oh, a little itchy, but I'll make it.
Oh man, yeah, that's no good. You're not getting preferential treatment at the doctors these days with everything else going on. You may have to deal with that a little while. But Promiscuous John. So, what are your thoughts about the body count? Is it something that matters? Does the number matter, or do the actions of the past that accumulated to the body count matter? What is more important to you?
I was just having this conversation with a friend of mine, and what we were talking about was the number itself can be deceiving. And I'm getting a horrible feedback.
Oh, you might be picking it up. Let me see. Let me know if this works better.
Hello?
Yeah, no, is it picking up now, or let me know if it's how it sounds when you talk, or do you hear when you talk?
Let me see.
I may have turned it down for you.
I hear myself. I hear my echo, and a buzzing sound in the background, like a honing sound.
I don't even know what that is.
You want to try and work through it, or you want me to wait for you to see if you can figure it out?
No, I'm not sure. I'd have to tweak with it, probably after the stream or something like that. So I'm not sure exactly what it is, where it's coming from.
All right. So, all right, there. I think it's fixed because I don't hear myself anymore. Great, it's fixed, Honcho. So we were talking, and it ended up being that the number can be taken out of context because, like, I'm 40. So if somebody who is, let's just say, a woman at 21 years old has the same body count of me as 40, and I'm no prude, it's different. You know what I mean? Like, let's just make up a number. Let's just say the number's 20. Let's make that number up. A 40-year-old person with a body count of 20 is different than an 18-year-old with a body count of 20. Mm-hmm. So that number can be deceiving. You know, if someone doesn't want to be with someone who's been with more than 5 partners, well, is that based on their age range, or is it based on regardless of what the age range is? You know what I mean? Because, you know, a 40-year-old person with 10 partners might not be considered promiscuous, but a 16-year-old with 10 partners might be considered promiscuous. You know, there's a lot more you've been playing the game for a lot more years to accumulate stats. You know, Hank Aaron, you know, he was good for 35 home runs every year for 20 plus years. You know, and but he was never considered like if you look at someone like, I don't know, Babe Ruth, he had a couple of years where he smacked 61 and in the 50s, but he didn't have the longevity. So, you know, at the end of the day, the context of the matter. He's such an asshole. So at the end of the day, the context matters. And I think who you slept with, yeah, that too, because it's kind of like, you know, if your partner slept with someone who is like a real low life and did it with more than one person was a real low life, that's kind of like, like, you know, where are your standards, you know? Yeah. And then where do I fit into all this?
Yeah. Okay. So you think it does matter? The actions with whom they have partaken are important.
I would say, yeah. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, it's like okay, like for me, like if I find out that let's say I'm dating a woman and I find out that she slept with, like, you know, a bunch of fucking crackheads and fucking ex-cons that were murderers and like rapists, like, your mom would be like, yo, like what kind of morals and values do you have for yourself that that's who you fucking sleep with more than on one occasion, you know what I mean? So it's gonna be like, yeah, it says something about you. I mean, like every once in a while, somebody, plays a good game on you and they trick you and they don't show you who they really are. Whatever happens. But if it happens more than a few times or more, it's just like, I'm going to question your ability to fucking do anything correctly. And then with the number, like I said, it's all taken into context. I'm not going to meet a 40-year-old woman and hold her to the same standard as a 21-year-old woman.
Okay. Do you account for older women having, I don't want to say midlife crises, but how could we put this without every woman in the den unsubscribing? Let me find a way to say this appropriately. But as women get older, they say that they become more active, if you will. Have you found that to be the truth in your experience?
I mean, they say that a woman's sexual peak is at 30. Mm-hmm. I don't know how true that is. But I just think it depends on the woman. I mean, respectfully, I feel that if you say the right thing to the right woman at the right time, no matter what, you'll talk her out of her panties. So she could be 40, she could be 21. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. If you got some game, you're gonna get what you want out of her. So, I mean, like they have like the whole thing like cougars. You know what I mean? Like that's the 40 and over women or 50 and over women. But again, like I just think that all depends on like I met 40-year-olds that were prudes, and I met 21-year-olds that were hoes, and vice versa. So. Okay. I know that you should. It would be nice if you could share your body count with your significant other. But the reality is, like I was talking to my friend today, and we agreed, like, what's the point? Nothing good's going to come out of it. It's either going to be the number's too low and you don't believe the person, or the number's too high and you're going to get turned off and you're going to feel some type of way and you're going to hold it against the person or dump the person, whatever. So it's like, well, what's the point of discussing it? Like I had an ex-girlfriend who used to ask me all the time, how many women you slept with, and I used to tell her, it's none of your fucking business.
But do you think
like, well, I'll tell you
that information will come up and haunt you in the long term?
Excuse me?
So do you think that not disclosing that information could come back to haunt you in the long term?
No. No.
Okay.
Because if I say I'm not disclosing it, how's it going to come back to haunt me? It's not like I said a number and I lied about it or something. I'm not telling you.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Like I want to. Let me just say one thing, Honcho. I want to tell her, but I know nothing good's going to come out of it. So for the sake of her keeping her sanity, me keeping my happiness, the relationship together, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. I would love to tell her, but for her own good and my own happiness, I'm smarter than that, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Okay. So the den wants to know: Are you gonna share your body count?
I'll give you. If they want to get, I mean, I'll tell you, it's definitely under 100. I'll say that.
Okay.
All right. But yeah, it's just like I had an ex-girlfriend. She always asked me all the time. I used to be like, look, it's none of your business. Yeah, I can count that high, K Grace. Fuck out of here. So, what do you call it? She would tell me all the time, and I'm like, look, I'm not gonna discuss it with you. And she was like, well, I'll tell you mine. I was like, I don't care what yours is. Because first of all, I'm not gonna believe what she tells me anyway. You know what I mean? Like that thing you said in the beginning of the show, women usually divide it by 3.
Yes.
So I've heard that a million times, and I said that to her. I'm like, you're not gonna tell me the truth anyway. And she's like, well, I've been with 4 guys. I was like, okay, exactly my point. Like, shut up. Let's just continue having a nice relationship. Like, it was a really good relationship while it lasted. So my whole thing was like, I don't care. And she just kept nagging. Well, I told you how many men I've been with. Why won't you tell me how many? I was like, I didn't ask you. You volunteered it after I told you. I didn't want to know, and I'm not going to tell you how many fucking women I've been with. So this just goes back to the conversation we had the other night about men versus women and the dating and what women want, what men want. Women just want to control everything. They want to be nosy. They They want everything to be perfect. It don't matter. It don't matter how many women a guy has slept with. Stay out of our business.
Okay. But what about a particular action? What if there's an action? Is there well, let's put it like this. So you're dating a chick and you don't know the count, but somehow you find out or stumble across or are informed of some way of an action in her past that most people may not participate in. What is the one action that you could find out about that would automatically disqualify a relationship if you were in one?
A sexual action?
Yes. If you find out something that she's done in her past, what would just instant, immediate termination, in your opinion?
Immediate termination for sexual action. Oh man. A lot of like risky behavior, like if she had like a streak of sleeping with guys with no condom on, I would never look at her the same. Could you be so fucking careless with your life and your health? That would turn me off. If she was someone who was like, yeah, when I was in college, I used to love getting gangbanged, and she's like, that would turn me off. If she was like, if she said like, look, like I tried it one time, it was all right, never did it again, don't really care for it again, I'd be like, all right, cool, because I ran a train on a few women, so who am I to fucking say no? Well, I guess my big thing is like, how did it come about, and how often did you do it, and how long ago was it? Because usually when somebody in a relationship brings up some kind of drastic story like that, it's usually like a low key way of them telling you like, I want to try that again now with you. So it's if a woman's telling you like, back in college I used to hook up with girls all the time, and my boyfriend at the time used to watch, and he would love it. Well, she's really telling you she wants to do that with you again. She doesn't want to go behind your back and cheat on you with women, so she wants to have that type of lifestyle with you. But instead of her coming out and saying it, because women never fucking say things directly, she's gonna fucking tell you a story about the past, or maybe she'll make it up and say it was a friend who used to do that, just to see your reaction. If your reaction's good, then she knows to, start going down that road with you slowly. So, but anyway, getting back to the story, getting back to the question you asked, it would depend on how long ago they did it, how often they did it, and do I believe them that they're not into that now.
I don't know. That's all I got.
Who am I to say that if you're not the Virgin Mary, you can't be with me. I've done some fucking pretty nasty sexual things with women in the past. Who am I to tell a woman? This is what I tell women when I meet them. I said, look, I know you had a life before you met me. I said, and I prefer that you did have a life before you met me. Just don't have too much of a life before you met me. That's how I say it to them.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can dig it. I can definitely dig it. Because who was it? Who made the joke that said you got to watch out for the quiet ones because they don't speak because a bunch of fucking skeletons will fall out of their fucking mouth. So yeah, I mean, women here, they're interesting. They're very interesting. So maybe we'll hear from some of the ladies, and they'll be honest with us tonight. Okay, all right. Anything else that's on your mind there, Mr. John?
Yeah. And for the gentleman in the den, if you're dating a woman, or you've been around the block, and these women tell you like, oh, I would never do that, or that's disgusting, or I can't believe like that couple's doing that, just know that they're all fucking lying to you. Okay, all these women have done their little freaky deaky things. They've all been banged out in the fucking parking lot of a fucking Motel 6 because the guy they were with was too broke to afford the hotel room, but he drove all the way there fronting like he had a little bit of money. They've all fucking had a train run on them. They've all fucking done some freaky shit. They've all dressed up as some kind of anime character and had a fucking train run on them. They're all lying to you. They've all done some kind of weird shit. Don't let them lie to you. Okay? So don't be afraid to tell them about your fucking fantasies, because if you don't act, because closed mouths don't get fed. So make sure that fucking you don't take no shit from no woman.
The chat is now on fire. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Okay. That's funny as shit. That is very, very funny.
Hey Grace, you don't even want me to start telling the chat room the kind of DM messages you send me. You don't even want to know. Don't get on my bad side.
Mm. Mm.
But yeah, Craig K Grace is a wonderful woman, let's just say.
Yes.
But all right, let me go. I'm hogging up the line. I love everybody. Tell it. I love everybody in the den. Okay, guys, be sexually liberated. Call in, tell us your freaky dicky stories. You know, hoping someone can beat the train story when we were banging the woman up against the fucking office window. All right, try and beat that story, guys and ladies. I'll talk to you all later. Honcho, you have a wonderful night. Stay safe out there, Corona free. Everybody else, stay safe. Good night, everyone.
Yeah, good night, John. Appreciate the call. Interesting. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
This is Bad and Bougie.
What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well, Miss Bad and Bougie. How are you this evening?
I'm doing good. Oh, that call was hilarious.
Is there anything on that call that you disagreed with that was said?
All of it.
All of it.
All of it.
There has to be
that
something
was
in particular.
Funny.
What in particular stood out to you that just that?
Okay, well, when he said that, you know, like maybe if she got gangbang in the past, but as long as she hasn't done it recently. I thought that was hilarious. You know, or maybe that if she only did it once or twice or something like that. I thought that was funny. But you know, wow, yeah, that was an interesting call. And then it was interesting when he said that if the woman tells you something she did in the past, then that means she wants to do it with you. So then that defeats the whole purpose of her being honest with you, because you're already going to think that she wants to do it again. You know what I'm saying? So it was just it was funny. He's funny, though. That was a good call. I was dying laughing over here. But, okay, so I have a story that happened with, like, two of my guy friends that are, like, my best friends, okay? This happened when we were in our 20s, but anyway. So one of the twins, they're you know, of course, brothers. One of the twins went to one of the twins was married. The married twin went to a bachelor party for somebody else. His twin brother was engaged and about to get married in a few months. So he went to a bachelor party for someone else, and they played a video, I guess, as part of, like, while the strippers is there, whatever, they be having little porn videos going up or whatever. Mm-hmm. So in the porn video, he sees the chick that his brother is getting ready to marry. And this is, I swear, this is a true life story. He sees his brother's fiance, the chick he's about to marry. So he was, you know, kind of, because at the time they all played ball together. Well, together but different places. But they all grew up, you know, they played at the same college. So it was my ex-husband's, you know, they were all like best friends. So he comes to us and is like, I don't know what to do, if I should tell Don or whatever, because, oops, I said his name. But anyway, this was in the past. This was in the past. This was a long, you know, who's to say that that's how she is now? I don't know if he knows or don't know. I don't want to be embarrassed that the homies just saw her in a thing. But, you know, it was just a crazy situation. So finally he decides to tell his brother. So he told him, and she, you know, was crying, saying, yeah, she used to do porn back in the day. But that was a long time ago. She stopped doing it. It's all over. It's no longer, you know, a part of her life. So at first he was satisfied with that, and he just was like, it's fine, you know, that's my girl, I'm moving on. But then, I don't know why, but as time got closer, he wanted to see the actual video. So they went, found the video, and the part that was messed oh my God, it's still sad to this day because he was really hurt. But when he looked at the video, he was like, "Bitch, you a fucking lie. That's my briefcase." Because I guess in the scene, she used a briefcase to walk in to the location where I guess she did the little, that was the scene. She walked in like a little businesswoman with a briefcase, but his briefcase had his initials on it. So he was like, "You lied. That was since you've been with me because you used my briefcases in that video." And needless to say, they ended up breaking up. He just couldn't do it, and he ended up leaving her or whatever.
Yeah,
But
I think that was the thing to do. Like, it's one thing if it was legitimately in the past and he could accept that, and it was what it was. But unfortunately, she fucked up because if it wasn't for that briefcase, he may not have known. Then that's like a foundation of deception, and it's not even about her body count or her actions. If he's okay with that, fine. But the time frame deception and the fact that she's doing these things, that she's putting him at risk. That's terrible. He did the right thing. Congratulations for that, man. If we had a studio audience, I'd give him a round of applause. That's.
But no, it turned out to be a sad situation because they were living together and everything. He had to move out. Of course, the marriage was off. Like, he really loved that girl, and
it's unfortunate. But I mean, imagine what could have happened if you'd have just really been. She obviously didn't feel the same for him. So it was better that he found out that way than get caught up in some shit in the long run.
Well, she said it was like early on in their relationship, and once she fell in love, she stopped doing it, blah, blah, blah. But he couldn't get his mind around the fact because at first she said, "This was a long time ago before I knew you." Mm-hmm. Then turns out, no matter if it was a week into it or what, you still was doing it while we was actually together. So it was a sad situation. But when I was listening to your topic about would a certain act be acceptable if it was in the past, and it made me think about that situation. Like for example, I would have loved to ask your last caller, like, okay, well, what if she was a prostitute in the past, or what if she did porn in the past?
Man,
are men willing to accept that?
A major porn star actually just got married, and they were talking about she had done like a bunch of gangbangs and everything. I forgot who it was. It wasn't Jada Fire. It was some, but yeah, they were talking about it. And the husband is well aware of it. Like, I don't know, that seemed like that would be tough. But hey, if she got a shot, then everybody got a shot, right? If you believe you can achieve.
Keep hope alive.
Yeah, this is. I forgot who it was. I meant to talk about that. But yeah, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so what about you? What if you came across a man? What kind of questionable decision making would he have had to have made to for you to say, you know what, I got to end this relationship immediately?
I think if any, I'm the type of person that in my past, I really haven't slept with anybody without knowing them very, very well. But if a man told me he did anything with another man in his past, that probably would be something, something sexual with any man in his past. That would be a deal breaker. There's just, nothing against it or whatever. Everybody, love who they love, but I'm just not interested in any type of man that would have had any kind of sexual past with another man. But as far as the body count number, I never, I got with my first husband when I was 15 years old, okay? And he was always a football star, even in high school. So me personally, I didn't feel like that was something that I even wanted to ask, because I already know more than likely he's going to lie to me. So that wasn't something I was interested in asking, and he knew my situation. My current husband, I didn't feel the need to ask either, because I don't know. It's just like my current husband is the type of person, he probably would tell me the truth and it probably would hurt my feelings. So I don't, my grandmother used to have a saying, you don't ask questions that you don't want to know the answer to. So I don't want to know how many people he slept with in the past. I honestly don't. So that's not something I would want to, that I, have asked him. And he's never really asked me either. He kind of knew me from a distance when I was growing up. So he kind of already knew my past. So, but he's never said, hey, tell me, Bad and Bougie, how many people you slept with. He's never asked that. So I don't think, with grown ass people.
But if he did answer that, would you answer truthfully?
Yeah, I would, because at this point, like I said, he knows me. He already know. He knew me since I was coming up, but he knew I was always with my ex. Like I always, since I hit high school, was with my ex. So it was just kind of like, he knows he knows who I've been with. So it's not like a mystery for him. But yeah, if he asks me, I'll tell him. And like I said, he's the type that if I asked him, he'd probably tell me. But it's probably something I don't want to hear. So I'm probably not. I would never ask him because I don't want to ask questions that I don't want to hear the answers to.
Okay.
Because I know it would probably be more than I would want to hear. So I don't want to know.
So what would be too much in your opinion?
I don't know, because, the second time I got married, I was 38, so he was 40. So who knows how many people he slept with at 40? You know what I'm saying? So, that means he went through his college years. I can't really put a number on it. I don't know. I don't know. If it was 20, I don't care, and if it was 2, I don't care. I know it wasn't 2, but it's just not something that I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. Like I said, now if he had been bisexual in the past or had sexual acts with men, yes, I would want to know that. But how many broads he banged, I really don't care.
Okay. That's what's happening.
So what's your body count?
That's not how this game works. You have to share yours first, and then I'll consider it.
Come on, Honcho. Let us know.
1. Uno.
Did you say 1?
Uno, yes. Uno. Tell y'all in Spanish. Uno, like the game. What is yours, Miss Bad and Bougie?
I would never say mine. If my own husband didn't ask me, then why do you think I would tell the public?
But that's because he didn't ask, right? We're asking. So that's all. I think it's a big difference. You don't ask.
I would. I would think that's like, a thing a lady never tells. Like, why would you?
Y'all don't tell nothing. Y'all don't want to tell your age. Don't want to tell your body count. Don't want to tell your weight. Y'all don't want to tell nothing. We don't. That's why we can't trust y'all.
I'll tell my age. I'll tell my weight.
That's why women can't be trusted. Y'all don't. We ain't supposed to ask. We just supposed to wait till y'all just present the information. Y'all ain't gonna ever present it. It's just this is a crazy way of life.
Let me ask you a question, though, for real. What is there a sexual act that you wouldn't be able to deal with?
I think just nobody wants the jump off, and when I mean the jump off is just if you were just really like getting ran through. If you were like the party, you know what I'm saying? Then the party didn't start till you got there, and that was the way you kind of handled yourself. I don't think that'd be ideal. Because it's real funny. Because I know a chick who she was adventurous in high school, and it's just and if you just knew some of the stuff that she was up to, and she was very honest and very frank about it, so it wasn't a big deal. But then it's like if she's married, I don't know if she has kids, but I know she's married with a husband now, and it's just like I feel like I'd be really embarrassed to know that. I don't even know. I don't know. If you're happy with the person, again, it's like I said, it doesn't matter. But it's just like, I feel like you'd be kind of embarrassed to know. That's why I say I think that, like, depends on the location matters. Like, if you're in a small town and everybody knows the business of somebody and they're looking at you funny and doing all that shit, and that could be used for whatever purposes, I think it matters. But if you're, like I say, if you've gone and kind of moved on, I'm not saying that your wholeness gets deleted or anything like that. But I think, as long as it's manageable, the person can deal with it, is what it is. I just probably wouldn't want, like, a fucking gangbang girl or some chick that's been in ghetto gaggers or some shit like that.
Ghetto gaggers.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this: what if she had been a former prostitute?
What kind of prostitute are we talking about here? I mean, are we talking about like a street walking kind of prostitute? Are we talking about a high end escort? I mean, what are we talking
Okay,
about
well
here?
let's go with the high end escort.
Okay, okay, all right. And what is her current age?
Well, I never asked you your age. How old are you?
Now you're gonna ask the question with the question. How does this?
Okay,
How did that
let's
just
say
happen?
she's 32, and she was prostituting from the time she was 18 to the time she was 26. Then at 26, she got a little job, and she been straight ever since, from 26 to 32.
Okay. And does she have any kids from this adventure that she went on?
No, because she was prostituting, so
Okay, I
she
mean,
didn't
hey,
have
play,
time to
look,
get it.
look, look, they play as fuck up. Uh, okay, and you said from 26 to 32, she got on the straight and narrow. What kind of job is she working?
Now she's a realtor.
Hmm. I don't know. She might be fucking clients to get these deals done. You know what I'm saying? So I
Now,
don't know.
see, if you had a relationship with her, would you be thinking stuff like that?
Probably wouldn't give a shit. But I mean, just if she's a prostitute, I just probably wouldn't have a relationship with her. Like, I wouldn't say that I'd look at her any kind of way. And I'm not even concerned with, you know, again, it's just the lifestyle itself. Because like I said, there's women who are regular women that probably have much higher body counts than a lot of prostitutes out there. And it's just like being realistic about it. Like there's some women out there who
I
are out
don't know.
there.
I don't think it's many women who sleep with a different guy every night like an escort would.
They're out there. I mean, you got to have that mentality from somewhere to be a escort. So some of them that got the mentality just ain't got the business plan, and so they doing it for free. But you know,
That's true.
my thing is just that again, it could be you could say so. It's not. It's just like I guess the lifestyle itself. That just kind of makes you question. Like I don't know about that one. You know.
Okay, so what about a former stripper?
What strip club does she work at?
She worked at KD's in Miami, but she did a little back room,
Yeah,
private dances from here to.
yeah. That's why I asked what kind of strip club she worked at. Well, I mean, it's just the same as the prostitute, basically. You know, it's not that far off. But I don't know. I don't think I could do the stripper thing either.
You don't think you could?
No, I don't think I could do it. Just because
I know a couple men that have been with former strippers. It's a lot of girls that went to college and they got their money with stripping when they was in college, and they wasn't necessarily a hoe.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a difference between that because it depends on what you're saying here by back room, private dancing. Because there's private dancing, and then
Private dance. They
but
go in the back. They
but
get
then
on your lap.
but
You
then
know what they
there's
doing
but
back
then
there.
there's private dancing, and then there's private dancing.
I'm
Okay,
talking
so
about private. That's what I'm talking
okay, so
about
if
on
you're
the
talking
side.
about that's prostitution. She's, I mean, so she ain't no different than the prostitute, the escort, high end escort, whatever you want to. And she's probably doing less vetting of her clients. So, anywho, so
True.
yeah, I don't want to share what you want to be with. Models are worse. They just high end escorts too. That's all these models that be ended up around these billionaires and shit. It's all the same game. My thing is just like I said, it all comes down to a lot of things. It's easy to say, you know, that no, I wouldn't do it. But again, like I said, it matters. I think context, how you meet the person, how long do they withhold this information from you. You know, I think it just a lot of things matter. But on the outside, with having no real energy invested into it, you can just say hell no every time. But like I said, I don't know the story between some people who fall in love with the strippers and snatch them straight off the pole. You know, people have different types of relationships, so I think that plays a part too. But I just don't see it for myself. You know, if I knew all those things up front, it probably wouldn't happen.
Right. Okay.
Yes, yes. Yes, I have been on the phone with Miss Bad Bougie past the 10-minute rule.
Okay.
Just because Miss Bad Bougie, she always just has some very interesting things. Saying it's good to have her on whenever we can get a hold of when she's not being bad or bougie, and she does come and join us within the den. So it's good
Yes, I'm sorry for taking up the more than the 10-minute mark. Definitely gonna get back in the chat and enjoy these calls because they've been great.
yes, yes.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you for calling in, Miss Bad Bougie. I appreciate your call.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
Man, this your boy Eastside.
Eastside, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What's on your mind this evening, Eastside?
Man, I got a couple of things. I'm gonna get into the whole body count thing,
Okay.
and I'm gonna talk to the fellas. I'm gonna ignore the women. I'm gonna let the women be women, but I'm gonna talk to the fellas. Some of you fellas, you shouldn't even ask that question because you can't handle the truth. Some of y'all act like y'all have this illusion in your head that women are queens and you put them on the pedestal. And if you actually found out the truth, your ego can't handle that. A lot of you guys. So don't even do yourself like that. Don't even do yourself like that. Have you ever heard the term ignorance is bliss?
Yes, yes.
Brother, I am telling you. Because it's like being a little kid and you find out Santa Claus ain't real and it fucks your head up. You're like, man, what the fuck? It's like you wake up from the Matrix.
Yeah.
If you actually found out the truth, not just saying you ever gonna really even know the truth. You're never really even gonna know the truth. So why even do yourself like that? My issue is if you're dealing with a woman, say, hey man, you know, me and you are somewhat girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the bullshit is, whatever bullshit label at the time. Just tell me if somebody comes in my proximity, you know what I'm saying, somebody I deal with that you know you had past relationships with, you know what I'm saying, give me the heads up. That's all I ask, you know what I'm saying. Just like, hey man, this dude from work, or she just see us, we in the stove, or we at a bar or something, and a dude come in, hey man, just give me the heads up so my antennas can be up, you know what I'm saying, because you know what I'm saying, you don't never know how the other man gonna act.
Correct. Yeah, niggas be
You know what I'm
like
saying? That's really all I need to know, bro.
Yeah, I agree with
A
you.
woman will find out every fucking thing about you. She'll find out where you work. She'll find out where you live. She'll even find out your fucking credit score. But she hold that body count for a fucking reason, brother. It's a reason that you shouldn't know, and it's a reason she keeps it to herself. It's a real good reason for that. So some of y'all can't handle that. That fantasy world some of you guys looking for, that pristine and innocent woman. Man, bro, I don't know everything about women. I'm 38, bro. I don't understand women now. It ain't like I'm the expert and I got shit figured out. But you know, certain shit just come with age, bro. It's like, man, me and you dealing with each other, man. Like I say, bro, ignorance is bliss. Man, I was in college, bro. And I was dealing with this chick. And I was staying in the dorms, and she had her own place. She had a kid, and she was about my age. And she told me her body count, and I was fucked up about it. And you know what I'm saying, I'm a broke ass college student. She let me come over her house. I ain't got no money. I'm you know what I'm saying, I'm doing my thing for free. Not helping her no bit. And you know what I'm saying, back my early 20s, and I found out her body count, and that fucked me up, bro. It fucked me up. You know what I'm saying? Why 20 years suddenly getting fucked up behind this chick that's letting me come over here, broke ass college student that don't have no money, bro. That was really none of my damn business, bro. That was none of my fucking business. But 20-year-old me, I was fucked up, bro. I was just like a little kid. Find out Santa Claus ain't real, you know. Find out it just blew my mind, bro.
So you say you think that you would handle that completely differently now, with the experiences that you've had in life?
Bro, certain questions I don't ask. I don't want to know. And there's certain questions I don't want a bitch to ask me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is if somebody come around, say, I'm dealing with a chick and she found out this certain dude worked with me, and you know what I'm saying? Say one of my homeboys. Hey man, give me a heads up, bro. Don't let me just keep coming around this nigga and keep smiling in my face. He ain't gonna say nothing. And you know what I'm saying? And this dude, you know what I'm saying? Give me that kind of heads up. That's all I ask.
I think that's the least.
And you know what I'm saying? I think this give you that much respect. What else I was gonna say? Man, I was in the Discord the other day. I mean that was last night, man. And boy, man. I ain't gonna say no names, boy. But some of them boys, bro, they put on their cake, man. For black women. And I commend them. They put on their cape, and I didn't know if they was Marvel characters or DC characters, because they was caping so hard. I didn't know what superhero they wanted to be, bro. And that Discord is a motherfucker, bro. So
I was mad because
I had been in the Discord before.
Yeah.
But I say, man, the boys let their true emotions out. They let they true emotions out on their Discord. And if you feel that way, bro, you definitely shouldn't find out the body count. That's just, hey, bro. Some of y'all ain't ready for that body count.
The power went out over here last night. It was out for a few hours, so I only had like a little bit of battery left, so I had to jump out the Discord early. And and I was just I saw some stuff earlier. Sometimes people type in the text chat or whatever. So I saw some things. I don't know if it was like that. I don't know if they had the conversation or not. But I'm assuming that y'all have. So okay. Well, like I said, I hope everything was as amicable as possible. But
Oh yeah, man, it's cool. It's just, hey, bro, people are voicing their opinion, bro. It ain't no big deal, but that's all I wanted to talk about. That body count, man. It's the longest I ever had to wait on the phone to get on the line, man. I was waiting since it begun.
Yeah, we must be active tonight. People that body count got people want to talk. So I think that's actually pretty cool. Maybe we might talk about things like this more often.
Well, shit, man, I'm gonna get out of here, bro. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there.
All right, Eastside, man. I appreciate you calling in, man.
Yeah.
All right, good evening. Shout out to Eastside, man. Nikki, you fine? I done seen that. Look, she done got up from the nap. She say it ain't no cap. Shit. I see Nikki been going in the chat. You been here firing folks up. I'm trying to see what's going on. I've been seeing little small paragraphs and things floating across the screen. But yeah, that's true too, though. Niggas be talking because y'all see some of these chicks that be out there and they be like, who is hitting that? And they got 2 or 3 different kids, so somebody's doing. Niggas do be talking. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we have coming into the den this evening?
I wouldn't care if you was a prostitute and you hit every man that you ever knew. See, would make a difference if that was way before me and you, girl. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, it was Wayne and Music Soul Child say that they don't care. Because she had a different lifestyle.
That's what the song's about. I like you, that's it. I like you, I love you. I don't care about all that past stuff. But before we get started on this topic, I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Firstly, who the fuck dragged Roman back onto the plantation?
Well, what happened? What happened to Roman?
Last night when he made that call, he sure didn't sound like the same Roman as the other night when I was giving him props. I woke up because I missed the show. I was tired. I woke up and I heard Roman, and I'm like, yeah, and I had a smile on my face. By the time he finished with that goddamn call, the corners of my mouth went down, and I looked like Robert De Niro. I couldn't get over it. I just couldn't get over it. So everything I said about him the last time, I take it all back. I take it all back. But we love him anyway. We love him anyway. I'm going to try to not say, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I got to try to not say that. But
Oh man, that's what Roman went back. That's terrible.
he went backwards. It's like, who was that guy? I mean, gee, did someone, a spaceship, come down and grab the other Roman from the other day and put this one back down here? I want that other Roman back. I call him Raymond sometimes, but Roman. About this question, the body count, I never would imagine anybody asking a question like that.
Ooh.
It was unheard of when I was coming up or even now. And I guess someone has the right to ask, but the other person has the right to not answer. And if someone would ask me a question like that, I would ask them why they wanted to know. You know, what's it? You must want to get a smack. Not that I would smack you, but you must want a smack to ask me something like that. You know, it's crazy to me. It shouldn't make that much of a difference. However, it would depend somewhat on how long ago you were so sexually active. If you were a slut 20 years ago, that's one thing. But if you're a slut and you've been a slut in the last couple of years, I might take issue with that. You know what I mean? Especially at my age. If I see a man walking around, he's walking around Honcho, you know what I mean? And walking around like his body's looking like he's constantly doing the dance the worm because he's such a pig that his body is conditioned to wiggle like that, then, I would have to tell that sucker. You know what I tell him, Honcho? Bitch, you need to eat all the salt you can, go down to the South End Beach, drink all that salty water, wash it down with that, eat all the sugar you can, give yourself some hypertension and some diabetes, and just let it all end. If you're still slutty years later, that should have been way in the past. No, really, you need to kill yourself.
But well, what if somebody started out and they were generally a pretty good person? Maybe they were in a relationship for a long time, and maybe that's all they knew from high school, and say it was 20, 30 years, and you know, whatever happens, happens, but they're no longer in a relationship. They decide to live free a little bit. Do you judge them? Would you judge them the same way?
If it happened more recently and he was sleeping around with a bunch of people, I would take issue with it. I wouldn't want that. Not in the last couple of years, at least. 5 years would be better. 10 years would be even better than that. But in the last couple of years, if you slept with, let's say, in 2 years, if you slept with more than 4 women, and I might be nice and give you even 5, that would be too much for me. You mean that little ding-a-ling just got too many miles on it and 2 shots shot a span. Yeah, that's called speeding.
Okay.
You know, so I would take issue with that. But I wouldn't ask anybody anything like that. You know what I mean? I really wouldn't, because I'm like this here. If I've heard some of the guys in the den say, yeah, the women want the men that everybody else wants. And I told you, no, I'm not like that. I like the men that are more difficult to get. You know what I mean? If I ever saw a man, you know what I mean, he was running around acting like our Future and all that bullshit, you know, I clearly know that's not the man that I want to keep company with, let alone to be romantic with. You know, I don't want that. You know, I mean, that's not cute. It's not sexy. It's not attractive to me. I told you about my ex, that military guy. You know, I found out that he was the slut of all sluts. I wanted to buy him a Burger King crown and write the word slut on it and put it on his goddamn slutty little head. You know, and when he wanted to go for counseling, I'm the type of person, Honcho, your counseling would never work for me. It's over. You know, there's nothing that you can do. Even when when I went out there and he had the big house out there in Arlington, the house, I remember Larry tried to give me his 1960 black T-Bird, you know what I mean, and the inside was all red leather interior, with the big analog clock in the front,
and the speedometer, and then that side mirror, had the light where it's like a searchlight and all that stuff. Yeah. Nothing can make me come back. When I'm turned off, nothing can make me come back. Wild horses can't drag me back. I cannot be bought and sold like a slave. Once you start doing those things, I take this very seriously. Once you sit up there and you drop your drawers and you start sleeping with other people, and you're supposed to be with me and you confess your love to me, I'm sorry. And don't tell me it's a goddamn mistake. I don't want to hear that bullshit. Because I'm going to ask you, when you thought about calling her, did you think of me? And when you started driving over there, did you think of me? And when you got in the house and started kissing her, did you think of me? And then when you went up to the bedroom, did you think of me? When you put your freaking thumbs in your pants to pull your pants down, did you think of me? When you unzipped your zipper, did you think of me? When you put that one knee on the bed to get into it, did you think of me? You had too many times to stop yourself, and if you didn't, you're a weak-ass nigger. 20 times you had to stop yourself, and you didn't. So no, I can't recover from that.
Okay.
I just cannot be bought and sold like a slave. There's nothing they can do. There's no counseling that's going to help us. And I'm one of those people, I can't even be hypnotized. I've gone to things with people and they say, yeah, I got hypnotized. I'm one of those people, and people said headstrong. I cannot be hypnotized. And I'm the broad that if I go in for colonoscopy or something, and you know how they want to put that little medication to put you out, I'm always trying to beat it and say, I'm not going to sleep. I'm not going to sleep. I end up going to sleep, but I will keep trying. I'm not doing it. I was sitting there, I said, I'm not going to be like Michael Jackson. I ain't going to sleep. And then I don't want to hear that bullshit, that it was the alcohol. Don't blame it on the goddamn alcohol. I don't want that kind of a person near me either, because alcohol only intensifies how I already feel. If I liked you when I didn't have the alcohol, I'm really going to like you when I do. And if I didn't like you when I didn't have the alcohol, when I get it in me, I'm really not going to like you. But it doesn't switch up and change. Yeah. And that's all to it. But, nope, I got into the Discord yesterday. I'm just going to say this real quick. I woke up, I got in there, I nosed around. It was a freaking man cave, a freaking den. And I got out, did some other things, went back in again, and they were all in there acting like wild boar. But we calmed down. It was nice, and we ended up doing like a Bible study. It was awesome.
Word? Okay.
Yes, we did. So we had to write down some things, and I looked up and did some reading today. So if I end up in the Discord and they start again, I did my little readings and my little research and stuff like that. It was actually really, really nice.
Okay. Broderick must have been in there last night, huh?
He was.
Yes,
he was. And Dakota, and Trill, and D-Love, and they were just badgering that D-Love again. D-Love, you need to quit being like to be abused. I mean, come on now. I just wouldn't even stand for it. I just wouldn't even be in there. But D-Love was in there. But Grandma came to the rescue. Pow, pow, karate kicks and windmills. Leave him alone.
Okay.
It was funny, but it was nice. It was nice. But I'm going to get off this phone, and I'm going to listen to someone else call.
All right, Ms. Grace, I appreciate you calling in.
Bye-bye.
All right, have a good evening. All right, we'll probably take one more call. Get ready to wind it up after this call right here. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
Got me, Honcho. Trill.
Hello, Professor Trill. How are you doing this evening, sir?
A little chilly. I'm all right.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts on the body count conversation, some of the calls that we've had, or anything that anybody may have expressed? Has anything caught your interest?
Yeah, I have many thoughts. I'm gonna try to be a little more tactful this evening.
Okay.
And I'm doing it for a certain reason. I don't really have like nothing negative to say, because everybody's pretty much spoken their preference, and if you the one being in a relationship, whether you choose to ask or not, that's up to you. So I can't really say you're wrong if you do ask, or you're right if you're wrong if you don't. So I don't really have a comment on that. But in my opinion, I think it depends on two things. if you just smashing the chick, I can kind of see more of a point in asking. Because, I mean, well, no, I see less of a point in asking if you just smash it because it's temporary.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to wife her, then it kind of make more sense because you planning on sticking around. So I think in my case, I'm not really interested in just smashing a chick. That's not really how it works. Because I'm kind of like, I guess I'm more like a female in that aspect of how I end up liking somebody. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a mental thing. The physical plays a part, of course, but I gotta like you to want to have sex with you because I can't. Nah, I'm not interested in that. I'm just not. But I've never had to ask the question because I didn't feel like I had to because I've done my research. I wouldn't mess with nobody that I felt gave off cues that they were very promiscuous before me. I wouldn't be interested. And when I say do my research, I mean, come on now, you talk to their friends, you talk to their family. And ladies, if you don't know, let me tell you something. Whenever you bring your new man or whoever around your family, you always got that one kinfolk in your family that's going to tell him all your business, either because she want him for herself or she got a problem with you or y'all don't get along for some reason or another. That's a fact.
Yeah, that is true.
Yes, it's always one. It's always one. So whether you choose to listen to that person or not, that's up to you. But I can't get past why I disagree with people is when they say, well, what's in the past shouldn't matter. But the past is pretty much the only thing that does matter. What you've done to get where you are is very, very prevalent. So how could you just overlook somebody's past? Because a lot of what they say about what you've done in the past, it shapes your future. Like, you can't go and get any car you want off the lot if you got bad credit history. So what you've done in the past, the history that you've had of making these payments, that does matter. If you're not a responsible person, they're not going to trust you with this high value automobile. They're not going to do that. So, and I know people going to say, well, you can't compare that to, women to cars, but I have an analogy. We've discussed it. I feel that these days women are like used cars. It correlates to me perfectly to where the number of people she slept with, you could consider that to be the owners, the number of owners, the people who owned the car, the people who drove the car. They possessed it. You can consider the number of times she slept as the mileage. That does have an impact. Whenever you're going to buy a used car, that's the questions you ask. You want to know. And then you look at the condition of the car, if the car has been taken care of. If the car been on the market, let's say it's a 2015. You know what I'm saying? The car been on the market for 5 years. And the car got 375,000 miles. It had like 5 owners. That car been driven really, really hard. So even if it looks good on the outside, you know that there's going to be some damage that's being done underneath. There's going to be some damage. And if the car is much older, let's say it's a 2000, and it's only got like 70,000 miles, then the car don't have that many miles on it. It wasn't driven as hard. And y'all can take this however y'all want to, but it does make sense. And when it comes to the kids, that's kind of like looking at the Carfax. How many quote-unquote accidents has this car been involved in? Because those do matter. That means that there's been significant damage done to that car, more than likely that everything hasn't been fixed. There's going to be some reoccurring little things, little quirks that go on with the car. The car might pull to the left a little bit, even if you get in alignment. You don't know why. but it happens. So I think that's a direct correlation.
This is a good question because this wasn't brought up last time we spoke about it. So what if the car has one owner, but that owner is an Uber driver?
That's fine. If he used it for work, that sounds more like some pimping shit for me. To me,
Shout out
he
to
used it to make money.
napping motherfucking Nicole.
Yeah, used it to make money. Again, the analogy still works.
Oh, that's
Used
true.
it for business.
Appreciate the love, Heidi. Why is the fucking audio for the alerts not coming through?
Trill's mom was a taxi. Okay, look. First of all, Heidi, I understand you trying to be funny, but don't talk about my mama like that. That ain't cool. Seriously, that's not cool. There's certain things that you do and that you can say. That's not one of them. You can talk about me all you want to. I don't care. But you don't know my mama. She ain't do nothing to you, so I would appreciate it if you left her out of it.
Why the fuck is this not showing up? Okay. Where are we at? Uber driver, but yeah, okay. So you're saying women like cars, like used cars, you know, the Carfax, the dents, the dings,
Yeah.
and you know what I'm saying? Oh man, I've had this mic for a little while now. I just finally set it up the right way. I finally had to arrange the desk to where the real estate it actually works for it, so I can have more space on the desk. But yes, we're trying to come up. We're trying to come up in 2020, even though the Rona don't want us to. Okay, but no. So like I say, so you compare the women to cars, and some of the ladies have responses that seem like they don't necessarily like the comparison.
I know and I understand, but it doesn't make the analogy not work. Because anytime you try to ask the question, well, what if this and what if that, I can still correlate the analogy to where it still makes sense.
Okay. So what, in your opinion, would
Again?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So what, in your opinion, so if a woman, and let's try, putting the shoe on the other foot. I know this may sound easier than said. What would be a perfect analogy for women if they were trying to compare men? Let's help our den ladies out. What would you say would be the proper comparison?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm not thinking about that one.
And so, John, you say the man
I'm
would be
not thinking about that
the mechanic. So what do you have? You have I don't know how would you because you'd have to separate categories because you got your crackhead mechanic.
No,
That'd be your lowest tier.
yeah, that wouldn't work because that would denote that he always got a fix and in charge of the maintenance of a woman. No, I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I'm quite sure, and throughout history, women have always found a way to take care of themselves and kids when they had to. So that analogy doesn't work.
But what if the man is the mechanic and the government is the dealership, and so instead of the women taking their cars back to the mechanic, they take it to the dealership to get fixed, and so that's why the man can't be the mechanic in the situation to fix the problem. I don't know. I'm reaching. I'm trying to find something to make it work.
I know, and that's why I wouldn't have said any of this if I hadn't really thought about it. Again, y'all think I just say shit just off the cuff, and sometimes it is, but I really thought about it. I've discussed it with other people, and it fits, and they tried the same thing y'all doing, and every single time it was a female, which was expected. The men was just like, you know what, bro, that makes sense. I get it. Because they live in it, they understand it. The women, they don't like to hear it because, again, it's not the kindest thing to say,
Yes.
but it doesn't change the correlation.
Okay.
and I'm still sticking to the 1,000 dicks, Honcho. Still sticking to it.
Mm.
I don't get what people don't get. That does matter. If you sold your body or sold yourself in any way, shape, or form, I am no longer interested. I'm not. Because that means that you have very, very low morals. And yes, I do hold a woman that I would be interested in to a high standard. Absolutely. Well, what's the contrary? To mess with somebody with low morals? Who really wants that? I'm not interested in a relationship where she's been known to sleep around. And then I get into a relationship with her and surprise, she sleeps around. I'm not interested in that. Again, I'll play percentages. Nothing's perfect. Nothing's ever going to be, well, I'm not going to mess with nobody that's, not a sure thing. You ain't never got a sure thing. But I want to try to get the closest thing I possibly can. What I'm willing to say, you know what? Fuck it. I'll gamble on this one. If I really see it's worth it, you know what? I'll take this plunge. Let's do it. Cool. But if I don't see it, I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry. I'm just not the type of person. There's a lot of people out there that, that they're willing to take risks. You know what I'm saying? Regardless on the probability that they'll be successful or not. No, I try to mitigate the least amount of possibility for it to be unsuccessful. I take very calculated risks. I've always been that type of person. I don't just jump out there and then hope for the best. I've never been that guy. And a lot of people do. And you know what? Look, more power to you. You hit sometimes and sometimes you lose. Cool, good for you. But that's not me. I don't want to live my life that way.
Okay. All right. Let me take one last question. One last question. Just Miss Napping motherfucking Nicole says, okay, well, what's the maximum amount of mileage that you will allow?
No, see, that's the thing. I said I would never ask that question because I would feel I'd never have to. If I was in a situation where I felt I had to ask that question, she's not the one for me.
Okay.
But again, the past does matter. If I feel like that there's something wrong here, that I'm getting like this bad feeling where she's the type of person, she's a little too friendly. You know what I'm saying? She's very, very flirty and shit all the time. That makes cheating very conducive. Very, very conducive. So you watch a little shit like that. You just pay attention to the person. Know how you met them. Why you decided to approach them. All of that shit matters. How they carry themselves, how they walk, how they talk, how they treat people. All of that shit matters. You have to take all of that into consideration. That doesn't matter, Heidi. I'm not, like, sex is important, but it's not the end all be all. No.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah, right. Sean Stone. See, again, I love myself enough to not, be that type of person. So I would want somebody that, shares the same idea. That's important to me. That sure sounds like an insecure man statement. Yeah, but that's just the way you taking it, though. So is it insecure for me to have a certain standard? That's what I don't understand. Whenever a man tries to say, well, I have this standard on this type of woman, he's insecure. But when the women say, I don't want to date no kind of broke nigga, that's okay. That's your standard. Can't nobody be mad at you for that. I just understand that I may not be the one for you, and I'm willing, okay, cool, then I'll just move around. But women seem like it's a problem for me to reject a certain percentage of the population of women because of certain ideals that don't line up with mine. I don't understand why y'all can't handle that. And that seems to be a very, very prevalent problem with women these days. Men can't have no standards. But then y'all say that you don't want no man to sleep around, like Miss Grace said. I understand it. I'm not knocking Miss Grace for that. I get it because I feel the same way. But y'all would not could be like, well, none of that should matter. Of course it should if that's what's important to you. You're the only person that sets the rules and boundaries in your relationship, depending on what you're willing to stand for. And if there's certain things that you're not willing to stand for, don't you think you should communicate those things and address those things before you get in a relationship with someone? I do, because I want to know what my intentions are. I would want the other person to know what I at least expect out of them getting into something. I don't want to go in something blind and then find out some BS later on. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in being transparent, as I've always been. So I don't like all these little sneaky, hiding game. I don't like none of that. But again, I do understand that don't ask a question you don't want the answer to. I agree with that 1,000% because I'm the same way. Don't ask me a question you don't really want to know my answer to because I'm going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not, because I don't care about your feelings.
Okay, I can respect that.
Yes, Miss Grace, thank you. I'm exactly sure about what I don't want. I can't really put a picture of what I do want, but there are certain things that are deal breakers for me. Like that, I cannot deal with. I'm not dealing with that. Other things, okay, I might be able to let that slide, cool. But that's too much. That's crossing the line. I'm not dealing with that. I have standards, and there's nothing wrong with that. When you women have standards, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, you may say, well, your standards are too high. Yes, in your opinion. But in my opinion, I feel like I value myself more than what you value me, and that's cool. That's cool. Who knows if I'm right or if you're right? But there might be somebody just like you that might value me a whole lot higher than you do. Does that make them wrong? No. That's their opinion. That's how this works. You don't have to like it.
Okay. All right. I have no further.
Right. See, Miss Nikki Nicole, you right. Champagne standards with a beer budget. That's true. I ain't got no argument with that. Because I know it's about the money and it's about the resources. I need to be able to provide. And that, ladies, I can definitely do. In spades.
You play spades?
Absolutely. This is like a practice squad player who turns down and. But see, this is my perfect example right here, Heidi. Heidi doesn't value me very much, and that's fine, because I also am not interested in Heidi. I'm not. So her value for me, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't. So she can have her opinion. I'm not even mad at her for it. Cool.
All right. Well, that's a BET. But this is what we're going to get ready to do, man. We're going to get ready to wind down the slide. So if y'all would like to continue this conversation in the Discord, I implore y'all to move that way. Man, I'm gonna hit you up and ask you something here in just a minute because I got a question about something. Like I said, my battery died out and I didn't get to ask something I meant to ask last night. So I'm gonna hit you here in a minute after the stream. So, yeah.
All right.
All right. But anything else you want to say before we get ready to wrap it up?
No, I'm good. Y'all, all y'all people out there, man, y'all stay safe. Because I'm starting to see more and more masks on the truckers, and that's starting to bother me because I ain't got none. When about a week ago, I didn't see not one with a mask. Now they everywhere. So I'm about to get me some myself. I done ordered about 4 of them offline. They should be in real soon.
Okay.
And I got my second mama. She making me some. So I got plenty.
Yeah, the homemade ones, that's the ones that's legit. Get them good custom masks. Just don't get one with Texas print on it because it's gonna fail you.
I think that's what she's doing too. She said that I'm gonna like it, so I'm thinking that's what she's doing.
That's gonna be unfortunate, but it is what it is. We gotta do what we gotta do. They're gonna be terrible. We just gotta roll with it, man. It's gonna be a tough thing to deal with.
Right.
That's the bad man, Professor Trillo. But I appreciate you calling in and sharing your thoughts, man.
All right, Honcho.
All right, have a good one.
All right.
So, I don't know what I got going here. We're going to end it on that note. Like I said, we're going to get, I forgot it was Good Friday. So, it was a good topic for a Good Friday, right? I think that's how it works. But y'all can slide to the Discord. Like I said, y'all know it goes down to the Discord where y'all control the conversation. There's been some real good conversations almost every night. And then, like I said, I end up getting tired or whatever, so I may tap out. But hey, there seems to have been some very good discussions that have been taking place. So I definitely shout out to the Don of the Discord, aka Culture. I appreciate you putting that together and making it what it is. Shout out to everybody who frequents the Discord on the regular. If you have trouble using it, just ask somebody. They'll help you figure things out. If you're stuck in the text chat, you want to be a part of voice chat, even if you just want to listen. It's always somebody willing to attempt to try to help you. But with that being said, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Probably won't be back at it until Monday, so we'll see you then. But I just want to thank all of y'all for being a part of this. You guys are, what makes this community special. So again, like I said, it's most of all, it is it's my honor, it's my privilege. Most of all, it's my pleasure to get to chop it up with y'all. Like I say, I really do look forward and enjoy just the random conversations and, the things like that. But slide the Discord, you want to keep the conversation going. And with that being said, I'm trying to reduce. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Y'all ain't got to go home. Again, like I said, feel free to hit the Discord. I'll put the link in the chat after the stream. But y'all got to get the fuck up out of here. So until next time, adios.